In order to strengthen the roots of innovation within their own streams, we, the team of Entrepreneurship Cell, are having this Entrepreneurship Filled Festival of Creation. We at AMI Astro Club are a bunch of space enthusiasts who like to discuss and discover about the many aspects of space. Our club organizes different outdoor scientific camps, day and evening observation sessions on the premises throughout the year. Students observe and analyze celestial objects like the moon, nebulae, planets, etc. AMI Astro is committed to raise the interest and awareness about celestial bodies and the universe among the student fraternity. Us Amitians know how much we love the college campus life. Let's have a quick virtual tour of the campus.
Devansh, if you could please share the video of the campus.
It just
Devansh, you can directly play it from YouTube if it's not being played, that's fine.
Thank you, Devansh. The space is infinite and full of numerous possibilities and opportunities. And to guide and mentor you through these opportunities, we have invited our honorable chief guest, Mr. Kiran Sharma, the CSO at Kepler Aero. Now, I request Ms. Sarumati Krishnan to introduce our guest of honor.
Greetings to everyone present over here. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our esteemed speaker today, Mr. Kiran Sharma sir, who is the co-founder and chief strategy officer of Kepler Aerospace. He's a serial entrepreneur who has started, built, and sold 3 companies. He was the lead engineer of the Lunar Nano Rover project, which was an India-Netherlands collaborations for putting a nano rover on the moon. His company, Kepler Aerospace, is the preferred choice for defense and intelligence-related space activities in India. Kepler Aerospace works closely with ISRO, DRDO, and NTRO as the technology partner for defense space applications. He was instrumental in the setup of the Space Club at his alma mater, BITS Pilani, and Delft University of Technology. On behalf of our entire AMI Astro Club and all the participants of today's discussion, I would like to welcome you, sir, to share your vast wisdom in this field with us. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Sarumati, for the very warm and generous introduction. So I think let's get directly into the matter that we are going to speak about. Maybe I'll speak a little bit about what it is that we do at Kepler Aerospace, and then maybe progress into what is the Indian space ecosystem look like right now, and then maybe progress into what are the opportunities in space, right? But before we start all this, I don't know if you people have observed this yet or not, but doesn't it seem like every billionaire in the world is suddenly into space now? Elon Musk is into space with his Starlink and SpaceX. Jeff Bezos is into space. Sir Richard Branson is into space. Not only global billionaires, even our very own billionaires. Our own Adani is into space now with Adani Defense. They bought a company called Alpha Design. So similarly, even Tata Advanced Systems is now into space. Through the Tatas are also into space now. They're actually our partners, by the way. They're our manufacturing partners. Anyhow, so my point is, everybody with money in this world seems to be getting into space. And why is this? Why is this happening? See, the reason basically is this: there used to be a time when space is something that used to be the object of fascination. In terms of science, you watch shows like, say, Cosmos and things of this sort, and you read science fiction novels and you get inspired, about science. But today, the reality is that space is at that edge where it is commercially exploitable. Today, people are not talking about space in terms of, oh, we're going to build a rocket ship and go there and do nothing. People are saying, I will take you to the moon or Mars or wherever it is and bring you back for a fee. So this is pretty much the most, what's it called? The most entertaining time to be in space. And if you find shows about space like Cosmos and all these things interesting, believe me, building a business in space is even more interesting. Believe me, it's like one of the most fun things you'll ever see. And this is happening right now. This is why everybody is now suddenly coming into space, right? So what do we do at Kepler Aerospace is basically we are at the intersection of defense and space. So basically we are into intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance operations from space. So this is, when I say these things, I basically mean ELINT, SIGINT, COMINT. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but basically this is electronics intelligence, signals intelligence. So this is the subject where basically what we are doing is we are a ear in the sky. All we are doing is listening. We are listening to who's shouting what, right? So let me give you an example of the kind of work that we do. Let's say that there's a radar, right, along the border. Let's say it's between India and China, right? There's a radar along the border. You want to know the location of every single radar. Why do you want to know this? So that you know where to go and where not to go. And how does the radar work? How does it, like, I think you might know how a radar works. Basically, a radar shoots out a certain frequency into the air and listens for it. Okay, so basically what you're doing, what a radar does is it's taking a torchlight and looking for people in a dark room. But you have to understand that when you show up in a dark room with a torchlight and switch on your torchlight, I know where the fellow with the torchlight is standing. You got this logic. So I am the fellow who listens to who is the guy with the torchlight. This is what we do from space, right? So this is the kind of data that we sell mainly to our intelligence or agencies and so on. So this is where we work. We work primarily with ISRO, with DRDO, NTRO, all these organizations is where we primarily work. Similarly, I think you might have heard of the Tejas fighter jet. So we are actually supplying the communication system for the landing gear for the Tejas fighter jet as well. We also supply the communication system for the Heat drone, which is a target drone. So this is also something that we do. And we also provide ground station services from Netherlands, Finland, Mauritius, and Australia to ISRO for their satellite operations. So this is one more vertical of our activity. So these are things that we are into essentially, right? And as far as coming into space, entrepreneurship in space is concerned, believe me when I say one thing, you are never going to come here into space and say that, oh, I do not have enough funding, I do not have enough, access to capital. This is never going to be your problem. You are only going to face one problem: you don't have enough, like, sufficient knowledge. Whether you have knowledge or not is what is going to determine your, win or loss in this domain. Believe me, there has never been a time where there is more money, more capital available for space activities or for any activities in general. If I don't know if you'll believe me or not, but the truth is that today's ground reality is there are fewer companies in which you can invest money into than number of people willing to invest. This is actually true today. There are more venture capitalists, there are more funds ready to come into companies than companies in which you are actually capable of putting money into. This is the truth today, right? So there is money is never going to be the problem. The only problem you're going to face is knowledge. Whether you have sufficient knowledge to actually carry something out or not. This is going to be your challenge, right? And if you're coming into space, there are basically only three places you're going to be in. You're going to be in what is called upstream, midstream, or downstream markets, right? So when I say upstream, I'm talking about things like manufacturing. So let's say you manufacture either like let's say a rocket or a satellite or any such hardware or any parts that go into the hardware. Let's say components, let's say subsystems, things like this. So these are upstream operators. So you're going to be in this domain, right? And what is the challenge in this domain? This knowledge and the ability to experiment and fail. This the best people you can use is your university, because those fellows have already bought all the instruments and so on. They'll be very happy if you go and say, I want to use your facility to build something. So this is the first place that you can be in. Upstream. Midstream are people like satellite operators. So these are people who offer ground station as a service, or let's say some kind of operational support for your satellite missions or whatever it is, right? So these people are midstream operators. Here your challenge is essentially how good are you at navigating the regulatory authorities. So basically, see, space is one of the most regulated industries. You'll have to understand that you're putting something in space which is no country owns space, everybody owns space, right? So when you're putting something there, there are thousands of people who are going to come and regulate you, including ITU. Multiple such international organizations have multiple rules. So you have to necessarily be very good at going and sitting and negotiating with these people and getting over these hurdles, right? So, let me give you an example. I told you that I was supporting ISRO for their satellite INS satellite mission with my ground stations in Finland and Netherlands. In Finland, actually, our license was turned down recently. Our license for radio operations was actually turned down. I had to actually call the Finland ambassador who sits in Delhi. The Finland ambassador came down to Bangalore to have lunch with me to sort out this issue as to how they can lobby the cabinet in Finland to give me the license. So this is how deep you have to get into the regulatory aspects if you want to come to space, right? So this is another place that you can be in. That is the midstream, the operator stream, and the final last one is what's called downstream. So basically, these are people who are giving some kind of application from space. Say, for example, Tata Sky. You get D2H, right? You get satellite. I mean, you get TV services or internet services or whatever it is. So people who provide that service, that is also one of the places where you have a lot of opportunities in space. So these are the places where, generally speaking, you're going to be able to come and solve some problem and contribute something. And you have to keep in mind a couple of things. Your limiting factor is always going to be your knowledge. That is the only limiting factor in space as to whether you're going to actually, build a successful company or not, right? And the other thing you have to keep in mind is this is one of the most regulated industries you'll ever come across. This is not something like I'll tell you one more thing about this space industry. You're not going to build a business here which is like, say, SaaS, software as a service, or enterprise business, or subscription business, user-based business. This type of business does not get built in space. Space is necessarily always going to be what is called as hard tech or deep tech. This is the type of startup that you're going to build in space. And what do I mean by hard tech or deep tech? It basically means that your MVP, your minimum viable product, that itself is going to be extraordinarily expensive to build. It's going to cost you a bare minimum of something like, say, 10 to 20 million dollars just to build the most basic thing in space. This is what it is. But I'll tell you one more thing. It is actually counterintuitive, but it is true that it is actually easier to raise money for building space businesses. And to build hard tech businesses and deep tech businesses is actually easier. This is the reality. And you know why it is the case? Because there are more venture capitalists who are interested in funding your very huge, ridiculous idea than somebody who's saying that I'll sell you, shaving blades or whatever every month, right? So this is how it is. So there is a lot of reasons to be very excited about space, and I would say, if you have any interest in space, please do come forward with your thing. And there's one more interesting thing about space in India, which is that we have one of the most vibrant space startup ecosystems in the world. There are only 3-4 hubs in the world where space startups really thrive. One is Europe, because of ESA BIC, essentially. One is in the west coast of the US, This is one more hub. Third hub is India. This is where all space startups are going to come, and everybody has already published a report, whether it is McKinsey, BCG, Bain, whether you're KPMG or even whoever, everybody has already published a report that next two Indian unicorns are going to come from space only, space industry. This is how it is, right? So I would say be excited about space, and this is all I have to say for now. Please, I am open to your questions.
We will now be moving on to the Q&A session. Jairaj, if you could take the lead.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so thank you very much, sir, for this fruitful interaction. Now I would like to request all the participants who have any question, please raise their hand on the Microsoft Teams itself. Okay, so Mr. Troshar followed by Mr. Devansh. Mr. Troshar, please go ahead and present your questions.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. This is Tushar here. I just wanted to ask that what is the scope of computer science in your domain, and how and where it can be used? Like, what's our scope, computer science graduate scope in this particular field?
Okay, so basically, computer science graduates are going to be very useful to us because all of the systems that go into a satellite, say for example, the communication system or the OBC, the onboard computer, or whatever it is, all of these things require programming of some sort. All of this requires some kind of computer science, definitely. And even if, let's say, I'm designing a constellation, I require some kind of software that coordinates between the satellites and so on. So there is huge. I mean, I cannot avoid software. In fact, my chief technology officer, my CTO is a computer science engineer. Okay, so definitely there's a lot of things you can do in computer science related to space. Basically, the only difference is that you, in addition to all your programming and all the skill set that you're going to learn in school, you will have to have some basic amount of industry knowledge. The reason is that there are specific protocols that we follow when it comes to space. Let's say, for example, it's a communication protocol or whatever it is. There are certain specific protocols, certain specific types of encryption, security features that we have to necessarily follow because we are in space. So this is the only additional information that you'll require. But other than that, as I said, literally everything is. It's basically a satellite is a computer in space, right? So it's completely your domain. Everything is open to you.
Okay, sir. So according to you, as a fresher, should I start my career in this particular domain, or should I gain some years of industry experience and then jump into this domain?
Uh, this really is something that's up to you, right? But I would say that you should explore space as an industry where you apply your skill set as a computer science engineer. So basically, your vocation, your training is as a computer science engineer, and you're exploring space as one of the industries where you might want to apply your skill set. So I would say okay, this is the best advice I can give you. Just follow a few companies. Say, for example, our company, Kepler Aerospace, or if you want to follow some, some international companies like, say, Planet Labs or Galaxy or Maxar or SpaceX, maybe. You just follow the work of these people. And if this is something that inspires you, if it's something that makes you work super hard, then yeah, then this is something you can come into. So I would say, yeah, just try to follow the industry. And if this is something that's exciting you, then come. That's basically all it is.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Troshar. Mr. Devansh, please go ahead and ask your question.
Yes, so my question is related to the previous one. So if I am interested in space and I'm from another branch, like I'm from CSE as well. So how do I get started? Like I know I need to do some research, but how really, what kind of research is required for this?
Okay, so one thing is things that you'll find on the internet and all this. Okay, that is just one basic step to just make yourself familiar, essentially. The most important thing that both myself and all my co-founders and everybody else that I know in the industry, everybody that has come into this industry and actually achieved anything in this industry has one thing in common. When they were in their university during their college time, they were part of the space club. They were part of the space club and using the university money. Using university money, you get money from your university who you are paying fees to. You take their money, use their resources, use their labs to actually build things, to actually build, let's say, a satellite and so on. You know that more than half the colleges in India have already built a satellite also. Whether you take PESET, whether you take SRM, BITS Pilani, every single IIT, all of these people have used the university resources to actually get hands-on experience, right? So hands-on experience. See, I'll tell you one more thing. When it comes to space, right? There's a lot of, as I said, the limiting factor is always knowledge, and there's a lot of knowledge that you require to gain, but nobody's going to pay you for that. See, nobody's going to pay me to say that I'm going to sit and build a a power card or a OBC or a thing or a communication system, things like this. For me to learn how to build this, it is absolutely essentially that I necessarily know this. But nobody's going to buy this from me, right? People are going to buy an actual useful, usable satellite. So all these useless things, I mean, all these things, not useless things, but basically all these things that you need to know that nobody's going to pay you for, these things you have to necessarily use university resources, educational institution resources to actually come up with this. That is the exact thing that you need to do. What you need to do is go start a space club. Tell your university that look, I want to launch. I want to build a team of say 20 people. We are going to come. We are going to build a small satellite. It's going to be 1U, let's say 1 kilogram or 2 kilograms. And ISRO is giving free launch also. No, everybody is giving you things for free. If you're saying your university, I'm a student, everybody will give you everything for free. This is what you need to do. You need to start a club, get 20 kids. Somebody works on power, somebody works on RF, somebody works on say, the solar panel, somebody works on all of the different subsystems. You are going to say that whether you actually launch the satellite or not is a different matter. Don't actually launch it also. It doesn't matter actually. What matters is you used university resources to actually learn the basic thing that you need to know that nobody is going to pay you to actually do. Do you get my point?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So
Understood.
this is what
Thank
you
you.
need.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Devansh. Now, Mr. Abbas, please go ahead and ask the question.
Hello, sir. My name is Abbas Dalvi. So my question was related to subscription model. You said the space industry can't be of subscription model. So like nowadays, every business is moving on to a subscription model, right? So why can't we do that to space also? Like we can, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that there is no subscription-based model in space at all. In fact, for example, Planet Labs is a subscription data service. So they own space-based infrastructure and they sell data on a subscription basis. They sell it to governments for billions of dollars. That's a different story. But my point is, it is not something like they are not selling it to every single person or something, right? So my point is like this: the basic thing that you require to enter into the space field is you need to build space infrastructure, and this requires huge capital. This is the fundamental difference. This is not something similar to, let's say, for example, let's say somebody wants to sell legal services on the internet, right? So you don't need any great capital to start this, because this is a software product. You don't need anything except for a few engineers to build this, right? And if you're a engineer yourself, you can just build those things by yourself. But space does not work like that, because the cost of going into space, the cost of a launch is at least $10,000 per kilogram. And to make anything useful in space, I need to put at least 40 kilograms of a satellite into space. This is only launch cost. So consider the kind of money that you're going to spend, right? So this is the primary difference. The entry barrier is huge. That is my point. So, and with respect to if you want to sell subscription business, I'll tell you one more thing. We are working on a project right now where there is a company in India that wants to build essentially Starlink, the same thing as Starlink. They want to give internet from space, from low Earth orbit. Okay. So this guy has raised already $500 million. That is about 3,000 something crore rupees just to put the basic infrastructure into space. Okay, and he's actually going to fall short of this also, believe me. Similarly, Airtel, you know the company Airtel, right? Airtel has purchased a company called OneWeb, which is again a bunch of satellites which is in space, and they want to give internet from space. Airtel is going to do this. The constellation is already ready. Next year, you're going to have internet from space. So that is also a subscription service, right? At the end of the day. But the point is that to get into this, these people spent $1 billion. And you have to have that kind of capability to go sit in front of somebody and say, oh, give me $1 billion, I'm going to do something. You have to have that kind of confidence, right? When you go and sit in, people are scared to sit in front of bankers these days and ask for a basic loan. But these people are sitting in front of venture capitalists and saying, "Give me $1 billion," which is basically 5% of the entire fund. So this is the basic difference between space companies and other type of subscription companies.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Abbas. Mr. Pawan, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. So I'd like to know how you came about getting into this industry, how you went through getting into astronomy and this year.
Well, actually, I have been interested in space basically since I was maybe in seventh standard or something. Because actually both my parents are scientists at ISRO. So for me it started at home, and then I was the one who started all the space clubs in BITS Pilani when I was doing my engineering, and then I continued doing the same when I was at Delft University of Technology in the Netherlands as well. And in fact, Delft is one of the best places for satellite program. As I was explaining to somebody earlier, uh, Delft actually has one of the most active space programs when it comes to any university in the world. They have one of the most active space programs. We have launched a satellite 13 years ago as a university. We are one of the first universities to launch a satellite, right? So, and we have launched 4 satellites. All of them are working, not like our Indian university satellites. None of them work, by the way. Okay, nobody will tell you the secret, but it's an open secret that none of the Indian university satellites has ever worked. Our 4 satellites are still working in space after 13 years. You imagine. So basically, this is the background as to how I got into space-related activities.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Pawan. Okay, Ms. Sanskriti, please go ahead and present your question.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for answering all of these questions. Actually, my question is, as a fresher, what are the skill sets that you can develop if you want to get into a particular position, or maybe if you want to start with the career? What are the internships that we can take up? What are the projects that are necessary? How do we develop our CV to get into these companies?
So essentially, all of these companies are looking for the same thing. They're all looking for great engineers. There are 3 basic types of engineers that we are most interested in. One is computer science because everything is coding. The other is electronic engineers, people who are very good at electronic design, whether it's RF or electronics is a huge domain by itself. There's RF, there's power, there's digital, there's analog, there's so many things, right? So whether if you're a very good, let's say electronics engineer, let's say you're a very good mechanical expert of some sort, let's say thermal modeling, or let's say structural design, or let's say antenna design, any of these type of things. If you're if you're a very good engineer, don't worry, we have a use for you. And all of my competitors also have a use for you. If you're a very good engineer, you don't need to know anything else. If you're a very good engineer, you don't need to know what is space also. We'll teach you. That is not a problem. But if you're a very good engineer, we are searching for you, right? And as far as internships are concerned, as I was telling you, the Indian startup ecosystem is very, very, very active. It is one of the most active in the world. So people like us, people like all of our competitors, or every startup will be very happy to take interns. And if you just go sit in the office for 3 months, you will understand everything about how space works and so on. So everybody is going to offer you an internship. Everybody is going to offer you a paid internship. I'll tell you one more thing about this industry. People offer you paid internships, right? So you should do this. And also one more thing is, please apply to ISRO internships. ISRO is also very generous when it comes to internships, and they give almost everybody an internship. Whether you know anything or not, they'll give you, right? So ISRO also gives a lot of internships. So there are so many opportunities for internship in space. Mainly, who you have to look at is ISRO and all startups, especially the startups that are making noise. No, all these people, whoever comes in the newspaper, all of these fellows will give you internship. I'm telling you, because that's why they're coming in the newspaper. That's why they go and talk everywhere, right? So yeah, so that's how it works basically. And as far as skill sets are concerned, yeah, engineering skills is super important. And the other super important skill is your ability to work with regulators, your ability to sit down with regulators and regulatory authorities, convince them to do what it is you want them to do. These are the 2 basic skill sets that you need to develop. So this is what you have to do to survive with this business.
So just a follow-up question to the previous one. If a person is not related to the engineering field, for example, I am from MSc Applied Physics, what are the things that I can do to get into that field? Or maybe
So,
someone from BSc Honors.
so let's say, I don't know what BSc honors is, but if you're, let's say you're in applied physics, right? So things like orbital dynamics, mission calculation. So as a mission specialist, I can see a lot of use for people who are into applied physics, right? So basically, when I say engineering, I mean an aptitude for science and technology. This is what is basically required. Believe me, nothing that you learned in the classroom is going to be useful in not only in space industry, in any industry. Believe me, this is the case. And there is no university that is good enough that they're going to design a curriculum that is actually useful. Do you know why? It is because when somebody is, and it's not their fault also. I'm not blaming the university for this. See, when somebody walks into the and sets up a curriculum, their point, their aim is to teach all the, let's say, 100 or 200 students in a classroom. All they're thinking of teaching you things that is useful for all 200 people in the classroom. Okay, so basically, trying to be useful to all 200 people, they're useful to nobody, because all those 200 people are going to do completely different things in their life. This is understandable to everybody. Basic concept, right? Everybody is going to do a different thing, so they have to know different things and learn different things. And when somebody is coming into a classroom and saying, I want to put 100 people in this classroom, I want to teach all of you something that's useful to everybody, it is not going to be useful to even one person, believe me. This is how it works. So they are not going to teach you anything, but basically make use of them, like, because they have money and all this, right? And they have resources. They want to set up nice labs and make videos about your university and all this. Make use of them for this job. Basically, you need to use the resources to learn what is useful to you. This is what you need to do.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Sanskriti. I would like to request all the participants, please feel free to ask if any question is there. If not, I think we can proceed. Thank you.
If you are done, can we wrap up? I'll have to leave. Somebody is getting.
Yes, sir. Devansh, can you please move ahead with the vote of thanks?
Yep, definitely. A very good evening to one and all present here. On behalf of the AME Astro Club team, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to Kiran sir, who despite his hustling schedule, very readily agreed to enlighten the curious minds about the infinite possibilities in space entrepreneurship on a very short notice. Thank you once again, Kiran sir.
Thank you all. It's been a pleasure speaking to you all.
Thank you so
And
much for
my email ID is available with, I think, Sanskriti or whoever it is. So feel free to write to me if you have anything, and if you want, let's say, internships or more questions or whatever it is, please feel free to write to me.
Definitely, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us for the webinar. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Thanks.
Participants of the webinar, we will be having a quiz now, and that quiz has been prepared by Abbas, the secretary of the AME Astro Club. Now, these quizzes basically have a prizes attached to them. Now, let me just announce what are the prizes that the person who comes up first and the person who comes up second will be getting. The person who comes up first has a chance of winning a business course online worth rupees 5,000, and also a chance of winning 30% off on maharaja.com platform, 30% off on Edifi platform. Person who comes up second has the chance of earning a coupon for a business course worth rupees 1,500, a marketing course worth rupees 1,500, 30% off on Maharaja, and 25% off on Edifi. Now, these are the prizes that have been announced. Once we have our winners from the quiz thing, for the first position and the second positions will be shown, and at the end ceremony, the concluding ceremony at 4 p.m., your prizes will be announced there as well. Abbas, if you can just move forward with the quiz thing.
Yeah, sure. So I'll just put in the link and the code for the quiz so you guys can join in. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah. And if you could please share the screen as well so they can see if they're reflecting in the quizzes. They can see the code on the screen.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. The quiz will be conducted on quizzes.com. So go to Google, type QUIZ join code. Repeating it again, QUIZ quizzes join with code. Once you have that website on, you'll see a place where you will be asked to enter a code. The code that Abbas will be displaying on the screen has to be typed in there, and you will be given an option to type your name to join into the code. Please remember, type in your name, which we see on MS Teams right now. Do not go for any skyrocket or, space enthusiast, all those funky names. Please don't do that. We won't be able to identify who you are.
So yeah, you guys can join by typing joinmyquiz.com and entering the code. So once everyone has done that, I can start the quiz from here.
If you face any technical difficulties during the quiz, please let us know so that we can take your name into consideration. And if you're not able to join the quiz, please let us know. We are here to help you out with that.
Sure.
I think we can start a bus. We have 20 people and 34 are the number of participants that we have. They can keep joining it even once the quiz is started. That's not an issue.
Okay, I'll just stop sharing my screen because the answer will be displayed.
No, it won't be displayed. You're the organizer. It
No?
won't be displayed. No, you will just see the
Okay.
list of the participants and how fast they're answering. That's it.
Okay. Okay. It is getting displayed, Sanskriti, so I'll just stop the screen sharing.
No problem. Just when we end the quiz and we see the number of the positions of the participants, we can share that part.
Yeah, I'll share that
Okay.
part.
Okay.
Every question has 30 seconds and it's based on general knowledge or whatever you have learned in school. So just read the question, read the choices and answer. It's no brainer.
Yeah, sorry, but can you give me the code once? I had some login problem.
Someone needs the code.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Uh,
You know, send me in the WhatsApp. That's cool.
You
Sanskriti.
can just announce it. You send it to me. I'll announce the code again.
Okay.
Also, Abbas, can you please tell me the number of participants that are visible there? We will have to apply an OD for all of these people because if they are missing any classes, then they are going to get an OD. We're going to send a Google form on the group. So once you have filled the form, even if you've missed a class, you will not be marked as absent. You'll be marked as on duty.
Currently, in my in the quiz, there are 20 people.
Works. Okay, so the code Biplab is 9925705. Repeating the code again, 9925705.
Yeah, it's done.
Okay. So people, out of the 33 people we have, the 13 people who've still not joined in, please join in the quiz so that you will also get an OT, and all people present here then will be eligible for getting an OT. Otherwise, you'll be marked absent. Repeating the instructions to join the quiz again for people who've still not joined it. Go to Google, on the search bar, type join my quiz or quizzes join code. Once you have the website on top, click on that. You'll see a box which asks enter your code. The code is 9925705. You just have to input that code, type in your name, join the quiz, and then your OD will be given to you. Abbas, just let me know how many participants we have now.
It's not getting displayed right now. I'll confirm it at the end.
Okay, no problem.
So currently there are 25 participants. So 24 participants.
Okay.
Yeah, so Sanskriti Arjit came first, then followed by Ritu, and followed by Shristi. I'll just zoom in. Yeah.
Perfect. So, Arjit, you're going to get the prizes. And Ritu, if you could please confirm your complete name.
It's Ritu Kulkarni.
All right, all right. So if you guys could please just drop me a text on WhatsApp, I'll be coordinating with the ESL people and getting you your coupons. All right, guys, thank you so much for attending the webinar and being such good audiences. People, I will be sending the OD form link on the group that you have joined for the webinar. So please ensure that you fill the form, otherwise you'll be marked absent in the time that you have attended for the webinar. Also, thank you so much, the core team, Abbas, the secretary of AMI Astro Club, Chehek, the head of social media, Pavan, Devansh, Yash. I'm sorry, I don't remember. I still don't remember the teams that you guys belong to. If you could please announce yourselves again. And Sarumati, thank you so much for being such a sweetheart and doing all the changes last minute. Everyone, you were a great help, and I loved the flow of the event. We all enjoyed, and I'm sure Kiran sir also enjoyed the event. Do you guys agree to that? Everyone, participants?
Yeah.
Apart from this, we will also be sending you a Google form for the feedback on the group. So please feel free to give us your feedback so that we can arrange more webinars like these. And if you guys need any internships like Kiran sir was talking about, please drop me or Abbas a text message so that we can get you in touch with them. We will be coming up with more such webinars where you will be introduced to all the different fields in space. And I hope you guys had fun. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending again.
Thank you, Sanskriti, and thank you to the core team and also the participants. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.